And this lesson is on the coordinate grid. And we're going to have you write your, pause your screen in just a second here and write your I can statement for the objective today. And that is, I can use letter or number pairs and ordered pairs of numbers to locate points on a grid and measure distances. Go ahead and get that in your notebook right now, please. So we're going to start looking at a map here of Ireland, and I have a feeling that Miss Schneider made this slide because she is a big fan of the Irish and of Ireland. So this is an awesome slide here, and this is an example of a coordinate grid in everyday life. A lot of times maps use coordinate grids in order to help you find locations. At the top of the map, you'll notice that they gave you an index of locations. And these are all different cities in Ireland on the map. And you'll notice that each index in this case has a letter first and then a number. So now we're going to go back and we're going to look at the map, and we see here that the index is on the top and that the cities are all dispersed throughout the coordinate grid. So if I wanted to find this first one here, if I wanted to find Bantry, I would start, B's listed first, so I would start at B and I would walk over to B, and then once I got to B, I would go down all the way down to, let me make sure I get my screen down here. And then I would take B, giving me grief. I would take B down to B1, and here in my box on B1 is Bantry. You can also see that I could have went over to B, walked first, and then jumped up and found Bantry as well. So B1, there I find Bantry. So you see our friend Superman here, and the reason we're looking at Superman is because, as you saw on the screen, you need to walk before you fly. When we're doing coordinate grid work, you need to slide over to the right first. You need to walk over before you fly up to where you're going. So if you can remember Superman walking first and then flying, you'll be that'll really help you with this activities. All right, so now we're back to our map of Ireland, and we have a couple places that we want you to try to locate on the map. We have Belfast at F7, and we have Dublin at F8. All right, and I want to remind you that you need to walk first and then fly. Okay? We also sometimes say you want to go over first and then up. So why don't you why don't you pause your screen and see if, using what you've learned so far or in the early parts of this lesson, see if you can find Belfast and Dublin. Go ahead and pause and give that a try. Okay, so you put your screen back on, and now you wanted to see if you were on the right track. So we're going to try Belfast first, and we're going to walk first over to F. So we're going to start down in this corner, and we're going to walk over to F, and then we're going to fly, or we are going to come up to F7. So I'm going to come up, 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 and then I get up into the box right here of F7 on the coordinate grid, and right inside here I can locate Belfast. Okay? Now we're going to look for, on the same map, we're going to look for Dublin, and Dublin is at F4. So we're going to, again, go over or walk over to F, and we're going to go up the line to, follow the line up to 4, and we are going to circle or square off our coordinate box right here, and I see that right inside this box up at the top is Dublin at F4. Remembering that we walked first, or we came over first, and then we flew or we went up second. And just to show you, it would have worked the exact same way to start from here and go over to F and down to 7 here, or F down to 4 here. So if they give you letters at the top and bottom and numbers on both sides, it will work either way as long as you go to the letter first and then the number. Okay, so we're going to start with a quiz question right off the back. The quiz question says, when reading a coordinate grid, does order matter? Example, doing F first and then going to 7. Does it matter being in order? Go ahead and pause and answer this question. All right, now we're going to go right to quiz question number 2 here. Okay? And quiz question number 2 says, where is Castlebar located on this map? And we gave you a little bit of a help to show you that Castlebar is over in this yellow kind of shaded area over here where I just made a mark. But you need to find the correct coordinate points on the grid for Castlebar. Go ahead and pause and answer this question. Okay. Now, oftentimes, you're not going to be dealing with letters on the bottom part of your coordinate grid. You're going to be dealing with numbers on both sides. Now, why this could, to someone just learning this could seem confusing at first because we have 2 sets of numbers that look the exact same, and you're right. But as long as we know that the numbers on the x-axis, right here is the x-axis, okay? The x-axis runs along the bottom of our grid. It runs horizontally along the bottom. And the numbers on our y-axis run vertically, going up the side, going up. That's the up of our grid. Now, when we are using an x-axis and a y-axis, our set of numbers is always going to be x first, then y when we're using the coordinate grid. It's always going to be x, y. So your x is always going to be your walk first, or the over that we talked about earlier. And your y is always going to be your fly or your up. So we're going to go over first with x, and then we're going to go up. So if we wanted to look at this first yellow star right here, okay, we would first have to walk or go over from 0, 1, 2, 3, because I see the stars on that line, and then we'd go up 1, 2, 3 to get to the star. So for that first star, we went x-axis 3. We went over 3 first, and then we went up 3. So this is our ordered pair. Call it an ordered pair, and it has the x-axis first and the y-axis second. Okay, now if we wanted to locate this blue star on our coordinate grid, we would again have to walk or move over first, starting at 0. So we're starting down here. And we would come over all the way to 7, because 7 is along the x-axis. That's where we walked or came over. So I can already start my ordered pair here and know that my x-axis is 7. Okay, and I'm going to put a comma in between always to separate the set of numbers. Now I'm going to come up, or I'm going to fly 1, 2, 3, 4 places up to where the star is. So I'm at x7 and y4. Now, it is incredibly important that you make sure to use your x-axis first. You're walking and coming over first, and then you fly or go up second. Because if you said, oh, okay, I see this point here, and I can see that it's right over here at this 4, and then it's down at this 7, and you did that ordered pair as 4, 7, you would be wrong. Because 4, 7 would actually be coming over to 4 down here, and then going up all the way and go off the screen up here to 7. That's where 4, 7 would be. So you need to make sure to always do the x-axis first and move horizontally. Move, fly, or walk or move over first, and then you do your flying or moving up. That's the most important thing of this whole lesson. All right, so based on what we just went over, go ahead and when you're ready, pause your screen, and you are going to figure out what is the ordered pair for this star right here. Okay, and I'm going to remind you to make sure to walk or go over first and then fly or move up. Okay, go ahead and answer it. All right, now we're moving on to kind of a cool question here. We got some pirate ships, and this is the kind of question that you might see on maybe on an MCA test or a MAT test, where they put some things in here to try to get your mind off of what you're doing. So I see that it's asking for the ordered pair of the treasure chest. So using what you've learned so far, find the ordered pair of the treasure chest. All right, now later in class, we are going to do a little lesson on combining ordered pairs with using a scale on a map. And this is something that we did a little bit earlier in one of our earlier units. So we see up top here we have a scale. And the scale tells us that this full length of the scale is 1 kilometer. That's a metric measurement. And we see that each box on this grid, which would be like, a box right here, each box on this grid is 2/10 of that 1 kilometer. So 2/10, 4/10, 6/10, 8/10, and then 1 whole kilometer. Okay, so you're going to be asked to, on this exercise later, there's a challenge question coming up here, but also later in class, you're going to be using this map in order to try to measure some distance. So now you're going to have to put together your knowledge of using ordered pairs and looking at that x-axis and then that y-axis, finding a spot, and then finding another spot and measuring the distance between the two spots. So this is like everyday life. You might have asked yourself, why do I need to use these coordinate grids? And this is the an exact example of how it might come into your everyday life. Okay, so now for the challenge question that we'd love for everyone to please try. You can write the answer right in your notebook so we can check it tomorrow. The challenge question is, what is the distance of the blue lake? Here's the blue lake right here on the map. What is the distance of the blue lake from points 3, 6 to 6, 6? So you're going to find 3, 6, put a little dot maybe. You're going to find 6, 6, put another little dot, and then measure the distance between those two. And remember that each square, again, each little area like this, each square here is 2/10 of a kilometer. Okay? So go ahead and pause and give this a try in your notebook, and make sure the answer is clearly labeled and circled and maybe says challenge next to it so that it's easy for us to find tomorrow. All right, well, that's the lesson on coordinate grids. Hopefully it makes some good sense to you guys. You have Superman here. He is flying away, so he must have already walked first. Okay, have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow so we can do some more practice of coordinate grids.